Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our council meeting, November 17th. Hope everybody's staying safe. Dean, start with the Lord's Prayer. As we are all on Zoom, you can remain sitting while we recite the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Roll call, Dean.
Mayor Bennett.
Present.
Reeve Robinson.
Present.
Councillor Gauthier.
Present.
Councillor Hughley.
Present.
Councillor Plow.
Present.
Councillor Watt. No, he's on mute.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Wren.
Present.
All members are present.
Okay. Call to order.
Need a mover and a seconder, please.
Chris and Brian.
Moved by Councillor Plow, second by Councillor Hughley, that the regular council meeting of November 17, 2020 be called to order at 5:30 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. Confirmation of agenda.
Need a mover and a seconder.
Alan and Keith.
Moved by Councillor Wren, second by Councillor Watt, that the agenda of the regular council meeting of November 17, 2020 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Declaration of recurring interest. See none. Minutes and notes.
Mover and a seconder for the committee and council and committee minutes.
Jennifer and Keith.
Moved by Councillor Gauthier, second by Councillor Watt, that the minutes of the council and committee meeting held November 3rd, 2020 be accepted by council and that the resolution from that committee become resolutions of council.
All in favor? Carried.
From the minutes from the regular meeting, mover and a seconder, please.
Alan and Jen.
Moved by Councillor Wren, second by Councillor Gauthier, that the minutes of the regular council meeting of October 20th, 2020 and the special council meeting of November 10th, 2020 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Delegations, there is none.
No.
Municipal report, CAO report. Any questions for Dean? Anything for Dean on his report? Seeing none. Treasury report. Questions for Charlene? If not, Public Works. Not sure what's going on with my schedule here. Nothing from Mark. It's getting cold tonight, Mark. Minus 22 or something with the wind chill. Wow. Planner.
Still no white stuff in the forecast, so we'll take a few days of cold as long as the snow stays away.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, down to planner, Laurie. Anything for Laurie or anything Laurie wants to add? Okay, there's none. Myself, mayor's report. I did miss it. I did attend the Zoom meeting for recreation with the city of Pembroke, along with Chris and Brian and Jean and Charlene and myself, and we'll bring that to council at our next council meeting and first council meeting of December. So file.
Mover and a seconder, please.
Chris and Brian.
Moved by Councillor Plow, second by Councillor Hughley, that the council receive the following reports for mid-October to mid-November at the regular council meeting of November 17, 2020. CAO's report, Treasurer's report, Public Works Manager's report, Planner, EDOC, CMC report, and the Mayor's report.
All in favor? Carried. Go down to planning. A motion open a public meeting?
No, that's
not a public meeting? Okay.
No.
So Laurie, under business, request to extend draft plan approval for Laurentian Metals.
Yes, so we did receive a letter from Jim Craig, again, requesting a further extension of draft plan approval. As it early in the new year, their draft plan approval would expire unless it's extended by the county. And this is an annual thing because each extension after the initial draft plan approval only lasts for 1 year. I did question him on if they had an idea of timing when they might move forward, and he just indicated that they continue to monitor their future plans and COVID and that type of thing. But there was no kind of commitment as to whether we'd be sitting here with another request next year. So at this point in time, there's no changes that we would be recommending to any of the conditions.
Any questions for Laurie? Debbie?
Thank you. Not so much a question as a comment. So we have a number of subdivisions that don't seem to be moving forward. I got very excited when I actually saw this on the agenda. I thought this was the start of something big for us, and it wasn't. I'm just wondering if there's value in us contacting the various people involved in the developments that of subdivision across our municipality, just to see where they're at and if there's anything that the municipality can do to move these developments forward. I mean, it's so important, and we need that for our growth, for not just for our tax base, and also for there's people out there looking to relocate out of the larger cities. And when I speak to people in the real estate market, there's not enough homes out there. If there are more homes to build or available, I'm not talking $1 million homes, but probably in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, that those would be going quickly. So I'm just wondering if there's any way that we can encourage our developers to consider moving forward in some of those plans.
Yeah, and absolutely, I do bring that comment up, throughout the year, but particularly as we get a few months away from our draft plan renewal times. And generally, part of our challenges with most of the other files besides this one is that it's speculators that are not builders of homes that have the developments, and it's getting them to move forward to invest that money in what they need to do to bring it to final approval. That seems to be kind of where they're sitting. But we do regularly try to direct people who are builders to try and connect. But to this point, there's not been a full connection, but there is some movement, it looks, again, with some of our other ones that have been sitting dormant. So it's fingers crossed that those will move forward. With Burcom, they do have the sister subdivision in the city of Pembroke, and that seems to be their focus, but even that is moving very slowly. But so this is a group that does build, but we will be bringing forward back shortly into the new year the revised concept again for Kirkland subdivision, because that has been filed with the county, and we're just doing our part of that review. So that will be coming back towards council likely on the December or January meeting. So that's positive, and there is a builder connection with that one. So we're hopeful that that will be one to move forward more quickly.
Go ahead, Debbie.
Thank you. So just supplementary to that. So the county of Renfrew has commissioned a seniors housing strategy, and we just saw, preliminary information last week, but I'm hoping that once that is finalized, Laurie, that perhaps sharing that with the developers as well will get them to move forward, because there is a significant need throughout the county of Renfrew, and especially in this area, the higher population area, for some affordable housing for seniors.
Okay, thanks, Deb. Okay, we've got a motion.
Yeah. Mover and a seconder, please.
Chris and Debbie.
Moved by Councillor Plow, second by Reeve Robinson, that council supports the request for an extension to draft plan approval from January 7th, 2021 to January 7th, 2022, and requests that the County of Renfrew grant the application's request and approve an extension to draft plan approval for subdivision file 47T14001, Laurentian Meadows subdivision.
All in favor? Carried. Go down to corporate services, council procedure bylaw.
This is basically round two. We did make some changes. I did highlight them, or we did highlight them in green. I'm just gonna, So hopefully that they are the one thing I'm going to flag is the one for the pecuniary interest. We have left it in there so that we were instructed by, although we could possibly put it in the bylaw to leave, they felt more comfortable, as the Reeve stated, that it be left silent. The lawyer I spoke to basically said they'd be foolish to stay in a room, but the act does not state that they have to leave the room. So we are going to leave it in there and let the member decide on his or her own when the matter comes up. Except closed session, of course, they have to leave.
Brian.
The only thing I had on this was number 25.9 was delegations providing us with the electronic version of their presentations. And it says prior to the call to order. And I didn't know whether, especially some of these presentations are pretty lengthy, if it could be, the Friday before or 3 days before or something, as opposed to prior to the call to order seems rather last minute to go through a bunch of information.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, we used to always have the Friday before, right?
Well, the request has to come in the Friday before for the actual. The request has to come in for the Friday before for the actual delegation. I think we've put it even Wednesday now. I think that's the change. But actually, the presentation, I guess, should probably be yes. Election must be provided to the CO prior to the call. Yeah. Okay. I guess it's just that. I guess that the idea here in that particular clause, Councillor Ugly, is if it's an electronic copy, certainly we want it for before the meeting, so it's be able to put up onto the screen. Although the actual request needs to be in prior to that, which is, I'm just trying to find the clause there. And if you want to, we could reword that just to state that it must be provided at the time of the by the Friday prior to the meeting. Maybe would that be better? Yeah.
But also right now it says the Thursday prior.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry, it'd be the Thursday prior. Yes.
Debbie.
Just needs a little bit of wordsmithing too, because it says any individual or group granted the opportunity to appear as a delegation shall provide it electronically or provide 10 written copies of presentation. So it just needs a little bit of wordsmithing. But again, I still think it should be provided to us by Thursday before the meeting, because it should go out in our package on Friday, so we have an opportunity to review it before the presentations.
Okay, so I will state that it shall provide the presentation electronic or provide 10 written copies. Yeah. Okay. Prior to. All right. Anything else?
No, that was all.
Keith, please.
Yeah, I was going to mention that one as well, but 47.2, the one you were talking about earlier, you should add in there that an individual, if he's declared conflict, should be able to may leave the room, not necessarily tell him to leave the room or not leave the room. It's up to the individual, but may leave the room.
Okay, well, we can, this is basically stated out of the act, so we've left it at that, Councillor Watt. And I think after my discussion with the lawyer, I mean, it doesn't say that he or she may or may not. It just states that, obviously you can't have the influence. If council is comfortable, we could put it in there, but he basically stated that I should quote the act. So
I guess where I'm coming from is once we have another election, there could be new councillors. Are they going to see? Are they going to be aware of it? So on and so forth. Where if they do read through their package, they will definitely see that they do have that opportunity to leave.
Okay, what's council's thought?
I think Debbie has.
Debbie?
I would sincerely hope that any new member of council reads the Municipal Act, because they're going to get into a heap of trouble if they don't understand the Act. So I think it should be written just like this as the Act, and then people know what they need, what they can and cannot do, and then some choices that they can make.
Yeah, I guess I feel more comfortable, Keith, with the lawyer telling us to leave it as it is than trying to change it. I agree with Debbie. Everybody should read that before they begin their council term.
Okay.
Anything else for Dean? So you're going to pass it with the changes tonight, Dean?
I will. Yeah, we will do it as amended.
Okay. So we need a mover and a seconder.
Yes.
Alan and Debbie?
Moved by Councillor Wren. Yeah, sorry. Moved by Councillor Wren, second by Reeve Robinson, to council accept the procedural bylaw as presented and forward bylaw, no, as amended, sorry. And forward bylaw 2020-11-049 as to the bylaw portion of the regular council meeting of November 17th, 2020 for enactment.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, we'll move down to motorized alternative route for Algonquin Trail. Dean?
As council's aware, we have...
You're on mute again.
Okay, so this item is being brought forward. As council is aware, we've had many discussions with regards to trying to negotiate with different parties with regards to the request for motorized alternative route. It began, as the report states, which is lengthened out, that the Algonquin Trail was purchased by the County of Renfrew. At that point, it was to be a full kind of all season motorized and non-motorized trail. They did put there was some questions by certain municipalities of whether we could remove the motorized or leave the motorized on, and the different items that needed to be evaluated with regards to each municipality. The county did give us some criteria as to what was needed to be able to remove the motorized portion in our case, which was to get an alternative route that was a legally accessed route from the municipality. The council has done a tremendous amount of work trying to negotiate with CN, talking to the OFSC, talking with the county and other municipalities to see if we could negotiate CN. Unfortunately, we've exhausted all the options with regards to the CN and the snowmobile access. We do not have an alternative route at this time that we can legally access. So this is coming forward with regards to the recommendation to allow, I guess, the council to allow snowmobiles to remain on the Algonquin Trail until such time. If there's something that changes, obviously we will be requesting the county that if something does come up, that we would be reevaluating it. But at this time, we do not have any access point. As for the ATVs, we're in preliminary stages of negotiating with the ATV club to see about what possible options we have with that. And that will be brought back to the council once we further into that negotiation. So the mayor certainly has been well involved and very involved in this, so he may have some comments as well.
Okay, thanks, Dean. I feel kind of bad in a way that, from the onset, and I guess I pushed that we would have a public meeting once we were at the end of our possibilities of an alternative route. It certainly was my objective. I had hoped that we would find an alternative route, that we could bring that back to council, and then council could make that decision. I had promised, along with council, we promised the taxpayers that we would attempt to do that. We haven't been able to do that, and it's time that we've advised some of the taxpayers already that we can't find the alternative route. But I want to make it clear that down the road, if an alternative route ever did come up, certainly we could bring that back to council. In the meantime, we don't have one. We also promised a public meeting prior to making that decision, but because of COVID and the lack of people that want to participate in a public meeting and not going to Zoom, we'll leave that opportunity for now. I have sent out a couple of messages to some of the taxpayers that have taken the lead for their neighborhoods, that if they still want to speak to us at council or speak to myself, they could have tonight, but I didn't get any response. But I'm sure if there are any comments made down the road, I'll bring them back to council. But it's unfortunate we couldn't get done what we had tried to do, but it certainly wasn't from a lack of effort through staff and ourselves. So here we want to put it to the end. We want to get it back to the county. So between the county and between snowmobile associations, they do know that we don't have an alternative route at this time. So I have Debbie, and then I think Brian.
I just want to thank you, Mayor Bennett and Dean, for all of the work that you've been doing. This has actually been going on for 6 years, because 6 years ago is when we first started sitting down with the CN at that time. It was 3 municipalities trying to see if we could discuss purchasing the CN, and so it's been a long, long road. And I do thank you very much for all of the work that you've done. So going forward, what I would suggest is that that council meet, not the entire council, but yourself, Mayor, meet with the Algonquin Trail Advisory Committee to discuss some opportunities to mitigate some of the impact that snowmobiles will have in some of our communities where the trail runs very close to people's homes. I believe that there may be some opportunity there to talk about some type of buffering or assistance in that way. So while we don't have an alternate route for snowmobiles, I'm still hoping that we can lessen the impact on some of our residents.
Thank you. Brian.
Two questions. One, did the city of Pembroke ever come to a vote on whether they were allowing skidoos through the city or not?
My understanding through Mayor Michael May is that they're bringing it forward on December the 3rd.
Okay.
I won't say any more than that. Your other question?
The other one, to add to Debbie's, it's the enforcement along that area, besides the buffering, just the speed and the that they stay on the trails and all that kind of stuff. Those were the other issues that were major concerns of the residents along there. Absolutely, Brian, and certainly as Debbie has mentioned tonight, that we meet with the Algonquin Trail Committee, because it is their trail. So there is a responsibility that goes along with that. Signage, whatever that is required. Certainly we will be asking for policing when it opens through Laurentian Valley and neighborhood areas. So certainly we will stay involved as much as we can to help out the taxpayers as much as we can. And I just want to make one other note, and I know it's in the report that Dean has presented tonight, is we have not, there is a meeting possibly with some of the neighbors or some of the people involved with the ATV club to speak to taxpayers on that. So this motion is certainly only for the snowmobile section. We haven't come up with an ATV solution as of yet, but certainly that's going to have to be worked on through the winter and try and work out a solution for them as well. Any other questions on this report? Do I have a mover and seconder? Jennifer and Keith?
Moved by Councillor Goche, second by Councillor Watt, that council respond to the county of Renfrew stating that at this time, the township has exhausted all avenues to providing an alternative route for snowmobiles and currently have no option for such. If at such time an alternative route materializes, it will be brought back to council for further decision. Laurentian Valley is continuing at this time to look into possibilities for alternative route for ATV/UTV traffic and will inform the county at a later date regarding that scenario.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Community safety.
I get.
You're off again, Dean.
Sorry. This report, I guess, goes back some time when we did get a request from the city to participate in a joint community safety well-being plan. There has been 2 meetings as of this point, so we're just moving forward with regards to the development of this, and there's several municipalities that are involved. So therefore, we're just asking for, they wanted a motion to basically move forward with this proposal. Sorry.
Questions? I guess there's a minimal cost involved, right, for our municipality?
That's correct. We did approve the participation based under some costs, which I believe was $500, I believe, at the start. So I haven't heard any. There was nothing more than that, I guess.
Okay. Okay, mover and seconder. Kristen Allen.
Moved by Councillor Plow, second by Councillor Wren. Bear with me that the Township of Laurentian Valley enter an agreement to develop a joint community safety and well-being plan with consenting municipalities. Whereas the province of Ontario has enacted legislation which now forms part of the Police Services Act of Ontario, requiring all municipalities to develop a community safety and well-being plan and publish that completed plan on the internet. Whereas the legislation permits municipalities to work together to complete a joint community safety and well-being plan that focus on emergency responses, risk mitigation, prevention, and social development as pillars of the community safety and well-being planning. Whereas there have been discussions and consensus has been reached between the municipality, the Township of Laurentian Valley, the City of Pembroke, the Town of Petawawa, the Town of Laurentian Hills, the Town of Deep River, the Townships of Whitewater Region, Head Clara, Mariah, and the Townships of North Algona, Wilberforce, and portions of Admast and Bromley to develop a joint community safe well-being plan. And whereas the City of Pembroke has obtained provincial grant and hired a qualified coordinator to guide the municipalities through the plan of development process. And whereas an advisory committee has been established with broad representation from participating municipalities, including municipal employees and members of respective councils, as well as representatives of local health and human and justice services, be it resolved that the Council of Township of Laurentian Valley formally agrees to participate in the development of joint community and safety and well-being plan guided by the advisory committee, which will develop and present a joint plan for review and ultimate final approval by each participating municipality.
Oh, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Employee discipline policy.
Hi, yes, this is the employee discipline policy that was passed by council with the wording to be changed. So I just wanted to make sure council had what was being changed in front of them for passing. And then obviously I delete all the stroke outs and changes and let staff know.
Okay, any questions, comments? Deborah.
Thank you. I'm just going to ask for a recorded vote, please.
Anything else of council? Any other questions, comments?
Need a mover and a seconder, please.
Jennifer Nell.
Okay, so moved by Councillor Goche, second by Councillor Wren, that council approve the attached HRB-51 employee discipline policy. So I'm going to begin with and it's been requested by Reeve Robinson. So I'll begin with Reeve Robinson, please.
Against.
Councillor Gauthier.
For.
Councillor Ugly.
In favor.
Councillor Plow.
In favor.
Councillor Watt.
Yay.
Councillor Wren.
In favor.
And Mayor Bennett.
In favor.
So motion carried 6-1.
Information items for Curtis. Is that Charlene or Dean?
I'll leave
Curtis-
Charlene do that. It's her staff.
Curtis has completed the Municipal Tax Administration Program. So now Tara and Curtis have completed the 3-part program, and they're certainly learned a lot and are able to apply everything they've learned into helping our ratepayers understand taxes and any questions that they have moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Congrats to Curtis. We don't get out here much anymore.
No.
Alrighty. Investments with the Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery Center.
Okay, so this is just our 3rd quarter of investments. So this is just for information and to pass it on to the Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery Board. This is, it's interesting. With the one investments, there has been an increase in returns of $8,849 or 1.38% increase. The investments with Scotia McLeod is so far increased 54,489 or 2.07 since the beginning of the year. And the Ottawa, so I will be asking in an email as well for the Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery Management Board to see if they're still interested in continuing with one investment for any investments that become matured or any new investments, seeing as there has been a drastic difference in the investments. And I know investments are long-term, but the investments for Scotia McLeod were also long-term, and we're seeing a greater return on those investments percentage-wise. So I've included all of the investments to date and what the balance is. So currently right now the balance is $3,083,833 at the end of September. And the other question that Scotia McLeod had is if we wanted them, or the Ottawa Valley Waste Management Board wanted them to review the investments of one investment and compare it. I've done like a brief comparison. I don't know if they can do a more detailed comparison. I think they want kind of justification as to why we've moved to one investment, and that's for the Ottawa Valley Waste Management Board, because it was on their call that they wanted to change this. So I'll ask that as well to see if we want to hand over the investment detail to Scotia McLeod to take a look at or not. My recommendation is if they're wanting to stay with one investment, then my recommendation is that no, Scotia McLeod isn't entitled to that information, and move forward from there. But I told them that I would ask.
Thanks, Charlene. I know that we have a meeting next week, which I'm sure you'll attend with this information.
Well, typically I don't attend for quarterlies. I tend at the end of the year. But
okay, you're just gonna send those questions in the email then?
yes.
Okay. It's kind of amazing that all of a sudden Scotia McLeod's numbers are going up because we've taken a portion of our investments away from them. But we are, my first question would be, we're talking that one investments had, how much money did they have right now? They have the 384 plus
Yes.
the 255, and Scotia McLeod has like 3 million.
Right.
So you get a higher rate because
But
there's more money.
it's the percentage wise increase is what I was looking at, not
No, I know.
necessarily the
Yeah.
dollar value.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm just saying that maybe more money there, your return is better than lesser money there. I don't know.
Probably.
Just a question. Okay. Well, we'll have that discussion and bring it back to council. Any other questions on that? Okay. Maybe we should pass on C because it's not good news.
No, it's not.
Go ahead.
Unfortunately, we did receive the information from the assessment appeal that they've done a minutes of settlement, and it will impact us, Laurentian Valley Township, to the tune of $120,000. I've broken it out. So if it was just the municipal tax portion that we would be affected, normally it would just cost us $32,802.77. And if you say it fast, it's not too bad. But over 4 years, it's not too bad. The sewer portion, of course, is also based on assessment and levy. So that also has to be addressed. And that's a loss of $21,834.34 to the sewer. Cost of doing business is the largest impact, and that's $65,466.68 for the total impact of $120,103.79. There are a couple of outstanding big box tax appeals, Laurentian Valley Square as well as Walmart, and the Canadian Tire has completed theirs as well, and there was no changes in assessment for Canadian Tire for the years 2017 to 2020. Normally we would be starting a new 4-year cycle in 2021, but that won't start until 2022. So who knows what the changes will be moving forward, but hopefully MPAC has made the adjustments for 2022 so that moving forward, so that another type of assessment appeal won't happen over the next 4-year total again. So unfortunately, it is what it is. They're getting there in their appeals. We're still behind. I think they're behind across the province. COVID didn't help at all on how to deal with those in appeals online with Zoom and whatnot, how to go about doing those meetings. So with regards to financial implications, so in 2020, there's an amount budgeted both in general and wastewater for $20,000 and $30,000 respectively. There's also an asset account for uncollectible taxes that represent $114,000. The uncollectible tax account will be utilized at the end of the year if required. And I don't really want to dive into that one because we do have a couple of tax properties that are on that we won't be getting the taxes for. They have gone through a tax sale. We have not vested the property, but we know it's uncollectible, and the $114,000 more represents those two properties that are uncollectible than for this amount. However, if we need it, we can certainly draw on it and then budget for it in further years for the other appeals that are coming down our way. But I'm anticipating that we won't need to utilize that uncollectible taxes amount at the end of the year.
Thanks, Charlene. Alan and then Brian.
So just again, I say we should be sending a letter back to MPAC. We should be copying Mr. Yakubuski with our displeasure in this system. 4 years again to settle this, and we're the one that's holding the reins at the end. It's really no impact on MPAC. It's all on the municipality. There's no way it should take 4 years. If somebody appeals their assessment, then it tells you that in the beginning, MPAC didn't do their job. They should have been assessed properly from day one. There shouldn't be an appeal of this magnitude to affect a municipality of a 2% tax increase on an entire municipality on one property.
Agreed. Brian?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Shirley.
I think the biggest thing is we have to understand is that normally most municipalities just look at the municipal tax portion. So normally it would be just 32,802.77. We are in a different situation, and we are the only municipality that I know of, and I've spoken to a number of people, including some MPAC people, with regards to the cost of doing business, and they've never heard of a way of billing or that type of an agreement before. And as well, most people do a flat rate for sewer or a metered rate rather than assessment levy rate for sewer. So typically that would not have affected sewer, usually water in, water out. So that's why it's affect us more drastically than others. But I agree, these big box stores are appealed province-wide, and there was a hope that at these big box stores would be able to hear the appeal all at the same time. So all of Home Depot, all of Walmart, all of Canadian Tire, those individual stores could be heard, because it's basically the same argument for each one. And my understanding is that it was refused at the ARB, that they must file each individual one and go through the motions that way, rather than across the board appealing one appeal for all Home Depots in Ontario, which is unfortunate because it backlogs the time period as well. So some of them are a little bit different, so I can kind of see why they wouldn't want to hear them all at once. But it does get frustrating when we have to wait the 4 years.
Thanks, Shirley.
And I get it that we're a unique situation, but MPAC has to know the impact that they've had on our municipality. Again, we just went through this. Was it 3-4 years ago? We need to let them know what the full impact to our municipality is by their decision.
I have forwarded this report off to our regional rep, and she has acknowledged receipt of it and is going to be sharing it as well. So just so that they understand, and I have previously spoken to the MPAC individuals that are from Toronto with regards to the impact that these box stores have on us individually rather than just other municipalities, because other municipalities could have been just faced with the 32,000 rather than what we're being faced with. So.
Okay, Brian.
Yeah, I guess my question was, we did put something in the budget for anticipating this year, but I'm wondering, did we have an accumulated amount over the last few years that kind of nets out against that, or how much of a hit are we going to be taking on this year's budget?
That's the 114,000 that's sitting there.
So,
yeah.
Okay,
that's the accumulated amount.
That's substantial.
But that may get used up with some properties already, right, Charlene?
It may and it may not, but right now I'm anticipating that it will be used for others. But if this year, at the end of the year, can't handle this impact, we will take some out of that fund.
Okay. Debbie.
Thank you. I certainly support Alan's suggestion that we write a letter. We did it again. I think it's 2, maybe 3 years ago when we were hit with this again. We asked that MPAC be required to have a turnaround time during an appeal of a maximum of 18 months. And here we are. I don't think we ever got a response. I know that our letter was shared at County Council at that time and it was endorsed by County Council. And I could be corrected, but I thought that it actually went ahead to Roma or AMO as well. I mean, this is a significant impact in our community. I don't blame the big box stores. They have every right to appeal, but the impact that it has on us can be, absolutely devastating. So again, another letter, and we may not get anywhere, but we're making some noise, and that's what's important.
Okay, thanks, Debbie. So council or staff has direction to get some letters out for sure. So we need a motion, or is that just information, right? Okay. So we're down to bylaws.
I need a mover and a seconder, please.
Jennifer Nell.
Moved by Councillor Gauthier, second by Councillor Wren, that the following bylaws be enacted and passed and be read a first, second, and third time and be numbered and signed by the mayor and the clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation and be engrossed in this bylaw book the 17th day of November 2020. 2020-11-049, Council Procedural Bylaw. 2020-11-050, Rescind Bylaw. 2015-05-021, Establish Annual Rates for Street Light Maintenance. 2020-11-051, Waste Collection Charges. 2020-11-052, to set 2021 water rates, and 2020-11-053, Wastewater Sewer Budget.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Move down to council comments. Alan?
Okay, just some good news with the airport. This past week, we signed a lease with the Garrison Petawawa for the entire large hangar located at the airport. So that's huge for us. So just let everybody know that you'll be hearing about that in the near future. But as of Sunday, it's their hangar 100%.
Right on. Congrats to the airport. Any other council comments? I'm going to bring one forward. As you know, I am having a conversation with all the councillors. I've started that process. Just want to let you know I'm also doing that with all the chairs of recreation. I don't go to the meetings, and I know you folks go as representatives, but I just thought it would be a touch to contact each one from a mayor's point of view and just have a chat about their recreation and how they're doing and any feedback that I can bring back to each of the reps as well. So I'm certainly not trying to overstep anybody's boundary, but I just thought it would be an idea to do that. So just give you a heads up. Debbie.
And it's also performance appraisal season. So I will be doing the performance appraisal for our CAOs. So if anyone has any comments that they would like to include in it, please send them to me by the end of this month. And then Dean and I will get together after that. It's his favorite time of year. Right,
Make sure there's just the good ones, not the bad ones.
Anything else? Okay, quiet night. Confirmatory bylaw, Dean.
Note and file first.
Oh, note and file, sorry.
Need a mover and a seconder.
Debbie and Brian.
Moved by Reeve Robinson, second by Councillor Ugly, that any items not specifically addressed by motion of council in the regular council meeting of November 17, 2020 be noted and filed accordingly.
All in favor? Carried.
A mover and a seconder for the confirmatory bylaw, please.
Alan and Keith.
Moved by Councillor Wren, second by Councillor Watt. Be it resolved that the Council of Township of Laurentian Valley approves confirmatory bylaw 2020-11-054 as having been introduced or read a first, second, and third time, and the said bylaw be numbered and signed by the mayor and the clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation the 17th day of November 2020.
All in favor? Carried. Thanks to everybody tonight. For Keith and Mark, I did get another call from from Albert. I wonder if each of you could call me tomorrow when you get a chance. So we just have a chat about it. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Stay safe.
A mover and a seconder, please. To adjourn.
Brian and Chris.
Moved by Councillor Ugly, second by Councillor Plow, that the regular council meeting of November 17, 2020 be adjourned at 6:20. Well,
all in favor? Carried. Good night.
Night, everyone.
Night,
night.
everyone.
Night.